That Saturday unfolded slowly, a day of quiet ease. I sat at home scrolling through my phone and saw a missed call from Noah. He left his headphones at my place after last night and needed them back. I saw it as a minor issue, so I took the headphones from the table and texted him I and Appos. D come by. Noah lived nearby, a simple trip across town. His mother Jennifer was usually home, but she stayed to herself, often in bed. I only considered her as Noah and Appos' mother. She seemed kind and composed. That and Appos' all. It ends here. I knocked on the door expecting Noah. Instead it was her. She opened the door, having just finished showering, wrapped in a robe, hair still damp. She looked surprised but calm. I looked away briefly, feeling a bit awkward. End quote. Hey Ethan, end quote, she said. End quote. Noah has stepped out briefly. What brings you here? End quote. I hesitated, then held up the headphones. End quote. I dropped these off. I didn't and Appos. Realize you were occupied. End quote. She smiled softly and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. End quote. I and Appos. Am not busy, end quote, she said casually. End quote. Just finished up. Would you like to come in for a moment? End quote. I hesitated but stepped inside. The house felt familiar, yet something felt different. She had always been a steady presence in Noah and Appos' life. I didn't and Appos' expect to feel this way about someone so close to my friend. We sat in the living room. She offered me a drink. The conversation started casually. As we talked, she opened up more than I expected. She spoke about life and the changes she had faced. Amid everything, she often felt a deep sense of loneliness. For the first time, I saw her not just as Noah and Appos' mother, but as someone with her own struggles. It was just us, sharing a real moment. Her eyes showed she was truly listening. That was when something shifted inside me. I began to see her in a new light. She was more than just Noah and Appos' mother. She smiled, warm and thoughtful. End quote. Ethan, you and Appos' grown up so much, end quote, she said. End quote. It feels strange. I remember you and Noah playing around the house as kids. End quote. I nodded, not sure what to say. A new sense of understanding grew between us. It was unspoken but real. A quiet connection lingered, its meaning not fully clear. I realized I wasn't in Appos' ready to leave. She stood and went to the kitchen. I followed. Her presence felt comforting. For a moment she seemed free from the role of being just a parent. She felt like someone sharing genuine feelings. End quote. Thank you for coming, end quote, she said, turning to look at me. End quote. I needed to talk to someone today. End quote. I gave her a small smile, feeling warmth in my chest. End quote. Anytime, end quote, I said. As I left, I sensed a change between us. An unspoken understanding remained, uncertain of where it would lead. Our next encounter with Jennifer was unexpected. I saw her in an aisle while shopping for dinner. She held a jar of marinara sauce, studying the label carefully. I noticed her quiet confidence. It was more than appearance. It was the way she carried herself with calm assurance. I didn't and Appos' expect to see her, and I wasn't and Appos' sure how to react. We hadn't and Appos' spoken much since that morning with the headphones. That day had stayed with me. Her smile and attention left an impression. I tried to brush it off as nothing. Then she looked up and saw me. End quote. Ethan. End quote. Her voice was soft, her smile welcoming. End quote. Hi Jennifer. End quote. End quote. Your presence here is unexpected. End quote. She gestured to her cart. End quote. Just gathering things for dinner. You too. End quote. It turned into a full conversation. We talked about food, the weather, small things. Yet underneath, a sense of deeper understanding lingered. Brief glances. Subtle smiles. Then casually she asked, end quote, are you free tonight? Noah's out with friends. I was thinking of making dinner. Come over if you and Appos' like some company. End quote. The offer surprised me. I hesitated, but before I could think too much I said, end quote, sure. End quote. Later that evening as I walked to her house, a mix of nerves and anticipation filled me. The house felt welcoming, filled with the scent of home-cooked food. Jennifer was in the kitchen, humming quietly as she stirred a pot. I stood in the doorway watching her. That and Apo's. When it hit me. The woman before me was not the same Jennifer I had always known. She looked the same, yet there was a new authenticity in her presence. Sit down, she said, glancing back. Dinner is almost ready. I took a seat, trying to hide my nerves. She moved through the kitchen with quiet confidence. We ate, and the conversation flowed naturally. We talked about life and how it rarely turns out as Jennifer'd. She shared about her earlier years and a longing for more connection. She admitted that Noah and Apo's absences had left her feeling isolated. Her voice carried real emotion. She had been holding back her true feelings for a long time. I listened without offering solutions, just being there. Her eyes showed intensity when she spoke from the heart. Her laughter felt genuine. She had become more than Noah and Apo's mother. She was a person with her own thoughts, feelings, and life. Thank you, I said as we finished and I helped clear the dishes. She smiled, and for a moment her gaze held something deep. I and Apo's. I'm glad you came, she said. I Haven and Apo's. T had a real conversation like this in a while. We shared the same unspoken thought. A shift had occurred between us. As I prepared to leave, she gave me a brief, warm hug. Take care, Ethan, she said quietly. I felt unsettled as I walked to my car. The night had been ordinary, yet it stirred something inside me. The next few days were heavy. That dinner stayed on my mind, especially her openness. Her quiet admission. Her eyes searching mine. The feeling lingered, even as I tried to push it away. I told myself it was nothing. Just one moment. But I knew better. Noah and I were best friends. Lately, my thoughts drifted even when we were together back to her. I hated that part of myself. On Saturday, I suggested we play basketball at the park to clear my head. When I arrived, Noah was already shooting. You and Apo's relate, he said, handing me the ball. We played for an hour, laughing and competing. But my mind was elsewhere. We sat at the edge of the court afterward. Noah asked, do you think my mom is okay? She and Apo's been distant lately. Something feels off. His words hit hard. I said I wasn't in Apo's sure. Maybe she just needs space. We went back to his place. Jennifer was on the couch reading a magazine. She smiled as we entered. Hey, you two. But I noticed the tiredness in her eyes. She was putting on a brave face. Later in the kitchen, she approached me quietly. Ethan, can we talk for a minute? She thanked me again for being there. It meant a lot. We stood in silence for a moment. The air filled with unspoken understanding. A week passed. The atmosphere between us had changed, charged with something new yet careful. Noah and I still hung out, but my attention drifted when she entered the room. One Saturday, Noah was out again. I was at their house alone. She called from the hallway, Ethan, She sat next to me on the couch. I and Apo's. We been thinking about our talks. She admitted she had been distant and apologized if she overstepped. I think you know what I mean, she said softly. There and Apo's. A connection between us, and I and Apo's. We've been trying to understand it. Her words made it real. I felt guilt, confusion, and a pull toward her. Are you sure about this? I asked. She nodded. I and Apo's am sure. From that moment everything changed. We kept it private. 1 year passed. We maintained a secret for a year. We carved out quiet moments for ourselves. It became part of our lives, instinctive yet fragile. The joy came from trust and genuine connection. We built a small world of our own. Guilt was always there, especially around Noah. But we chose to continue. We met when we could, always discreet. In public we acted normal, smiles, brief glances, nothing more. Those small moments became everything. We discussed the risks vaguely but stayed in the present. One calm Saturday evening about a year later, I sat on the couch at her house again. Noah was out. Everything felt familiar now. She sat beside me relaxed and at ease. End quote.